I think it's very interesting, the meeting between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and it seemed very friendly. Trump pointing out that politics can be a nasty world, and that this is not. This is very nice, and the transition will be as smooth as possible. And Joe Biden being the perfect gentleman, welcoming Trump into the Oval Office, sitting by this roaring fire, every bit the two elder statesmen. And it's interesting because when Biden won, Trump didn't concede and didn't have this meeting. Melania Trump apparently is not going to meet Joe Biden because I believe Melania holds it against the Bidens that there was the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago and looking for those documents, which of course they found. And now is the time to bury the hatchet, to be graceful and gracious, and it's not the time to be nursing grudges, I think. Meanwhile, I understand that Putin has issued another statement saying that he's offended that Trump has not followed protocol and formally called him. So what exactly was the call that Trump was bragging about earlier? Maybe it was just a text, an exchange of text messages, and nothing more than that. But traditionally, the incoming president calls the president of Russia, the leader of Russia, and this hasn't happened so far, and Putin is aggrieved. And the impression one gets is that the more this standoff occurs, the more Trump is going to move towards siding with Zelensky. And at the moment, the Ukraine counteroffensive, the 50,000 troops, including the North Koreans, pitted against Ukrainians in Kursk. This is a terrifying ordeal, and Putin presumably wants to grab back the land so that Zelensky doesn't have a bargaining chip for a peace proposal, which is what this land represents. Russia is throwing everything it can at the Ukrainians. Meanwhile, there is looting. The Russians are looting the local supermarkets, running in and out of the local supermarkets, and looting people who you meet one day are dead the next. This is the heart of a battle, and it's horrific and soul-destroying. And I've been talking to people who have been there and have seen it for themselves, and it's and this is what needs to be stopped, but it needs to be stopped in such a way that Ukraine's sovereignty is recognized and respected, and Putin is persuaded to return back to the borders that defined Russia. If he wants access to the Donbass, that needs to be negotiated. If he wants access to Crimea, that needs to be negotiated. I'm sure it can be. But this land invasion at gunpoint, literally, cannot be allowed, cannot be sanctioned. And the people I've been talking to are coming to the conclusion that Trump understands this. And the Russians are worried that Trump is too volatile, and Trump is not going to be as easily managed as they thought. I don't know whether that's good or bad. I think I think Putin is also volatile. I think having two volatile world leaders at the same time is not a recipe for safety. And that, I think, is worrying. So there's a sort of brinkmanship going on at the moment, and it's going on behind the scenes, and it is most worrying.